Over 500 years ago, during the height of the Renaissance, people abandoned the suffocation of established institutions in favor of the liberation of individualism. Far from selfishness, this doctrine of humanism emphasized the dignity and worth of each individual person. People dedicated themselves to self-improvement, guided by morality of the heart. But now, 500 years later, the flame of the human spirit is once again in danger of being smothered. Like a weed, institution has crept back into our culture to strangle vibrant individualism. And so, I propose a new revolution of humanism. I propose that we look inside ourselves and liberate the righteousness and morality that burns within each human heart. If we watch TV, read the newspaper, or listen to talk radio today, we can't help but form the impression that our world is in constant chaos. If we look for the state of the human condition in the modern era through the prism of contemporary media, we get the impression that violence and rudeness are exalted, while the higher principles of the human spirit are not to be found. If we look outward toward our institutions, our culture appears sick. Like an anchor, our discourse drags everyone down to the dark depths, down to where not even the light of morality can penetrate. Greed, conflict, insincerity, and a callous disregard for others' needs appear to dominate human interactions. Certainly, these negative qualities depict the human condition in the public sphere, but do they truly define what we are? Should we really accept that we, as human beings, are greedy? Should we accept that our natural instincts are to disregard the needs of others? Should we accept the identity our modern media assigns to us? Should we accept that the flame of individualism, of the human spirit, has gone out? I suggest that if we each quickly answer no to these questions, and for a moment pause to look inside our own hearts, we will find the true state of the human condition. Indeed, the flame of humanity has not been extinguished, although perhaps it is burning low for the lack of oxygen. To revive it, we must not turn to religion, for in the words of Herman Melville, to make sense of the modern world, one must turn to some authority not liable to the charge of being tinctured with the biblical element. Nor must we turn to government, for when we look to institutions to provide our moral values, they become a crutch for our own weakness and an excuse for our own personal immorality. Our righteousness as people and as a society must originate with the self and be exemplified in basic human interaction. During the Warring States period in ancient China, the great and influential philosopher Confucius observed a society characterized by war, betrayal, and greed, characteristics that unfortunately define our society today. To redress these overwhelming problems, Confucius offered a simple solution, preaching human-heartedness and basic human interactions founded on genuine concern. Confucius developed a progression by which individualism would lead to collective well-being. He said, if there is righteousness in the heart, there will be beauty in the character. If there is beauty in the character, there will be harmony in the home. If there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. If there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. When I look at political discourse today, it is rank with bitterness, disrespect, and distrust. The sublime beauty of basic human interactions is neglected. Every weekend, Washington politicians board private jets to fly home, rather than spend time to foster strong relationships. Our founding fathers, in contrast, knew each other personally. Although they debated, they recognized that we are a nation of honorable men and women, and compromises were possible based on personal trust. This trust derives not from laws mandating honesty and respect, but from the righteousness and morality found in its natural state within the human heart. We are depicted as immoral beings cast into a chaotic world, but I believe we are righteous beings, not far from grace. We are told regularly that all is dire, but I know that the gentle flame of individualism and the human spirit still burns within. Search deep, locate your righteousness, and then let its richness course through your veins. Just for a moment, Close your eyes to what is around you and open them to what is inside you. Stop listening to what you are being told you are and listen to what you know you are in your heart. As a human, look inwardly. Find your own individual righteousness. As a human, strengthen the relationship with the person next to you, and your trust of a person 1,000 miles from you will grow. As a human, recognize that because you have worth and dignity, so too does every human being. As a human, do not pass by a colleague in the hall or a stranger in the street without a smile. As a human, hold the door for someone. Our condition is not what we see reflected in our culture. It is who we really are. We should not be told how we should think of ourselves. Instead, we should think for ourselves. We can cultivate a new humanity based on individual righteousness and morality of the heart. If there is righteousness in the heart, the flame of the human spirit can never die out. In the words of Thomas Jefferson, let us restore the social intercourse. Let us restore to social intercourse that harmony and that affection without which liberty and even life are but dreary things.